It's 8:30. Good morning. I'm Ian Crouch with Hunter News. Maitland and Dungog councillors are hoping talk of amalgamating the two councils is now behind them after they both voted against the idea at meetings last night. The councils commissioned an independent report to develop a business case for merging. Maitland councillor Philip Penfold says a report will now be sent to the state government explaining the reasons why they want to stay separate.
Overwhelmingly, the numbers told us that it was not in the interests of the communities to form a merger. The dollars just didn't stack up. Plus, I think there's concerns too about the representation. Maitland would grow by 600% in land area, grow by 12% in population, and a larger council does not necessarily result in a better result for the community.
Meanwhile, the bill for salaries and wages at Maitland, Cessnock and Lake Macquarie councils has soared by more than 18% between 2011 and 2014. However, unions say it's management who are taking home the bigger pay packets, not the average council worker. Bulga residents will rally outside today's public hearing at Singleton into the controversial proposed expansion of the Mount Thorley Warkworth coal mine. The Planning Assessment Commission is again considering the proposal, despite it being previously rejected by the Land and Environment Court. Bulga residents fear their village will be wiped out if the project goes ahead. Vice President of the Bulga-Milbrodale Progress Association, John Cray, says this is the final chance for those on both sides of the debate to have their voice heard.
We're putting forward our arguments again on you've got to protect sustainable industries such as the wine and tourism. You've got to look after the villages around these open-cut mines, and at the moment the legislation and policies are against the survival of these villages. So we've got to turn that around.
Parents of students at Martins Creek Public School are welcoming a state parliamentary inquiry into small school closures. The Upper House inquiry will look into the closure of 10 small schools across the state in response to widespread community concern. Greens MP John Kay says the government is prioritising money over community needs.
The New South Wales government has embarked on closing, we think, up to about 60 schools across New South Wales. We're not convinced that these schools were unviable. There seems to be a number of schools that could have been rescued and kept open that have been closed down because the government doesn't want to spend the money and is more interested in the real estate values than in protecting the local community.
The transformation of Wickham is about to begin with plans lodged for a new high-rise. The 10-storey building called the Interchange is earmarked for Bishopsgate Street and includes 32 apartments, 2 levels of car parking and ground floor commercial space. It'll be built 100 metres from the planned Wickham Transport Interchange, where work is meant to start later this year. Construction begins today on the $5.9 million Singleton Gym upgrade. The official sod turning will be at 11:30 this morning at Civic Avenue, and the project includes a new spin studio and spa, a hydrotherapy pool and an extended car park. Singleton Council General Manager Lindy Hyam says the new gym and swim centre is important for the growing community.
It's a really important asset for the community, and it will provide facilities for rehabilitation, which will be of benefit to industries located here, as well as allow us to increase our Learn to Swim programs for a further 500 students per week. And I'm sure that the new hydrotherapy pool space is going to be really well patronised.
Sport for our sponsor, NewcastleCheapestCars.com.au.
22-year-old prop Damien Sirinen has signed with the Newcastle Knights for the remainder of the 2015 season. Sirinen, nephew of Balmain Tigers great Paul Sirinen, has previously captained the Tweed Seagulls in Intrust Super Cup. He's set to commence training with the Red and Blue today. Meanwhile, Dane Gagai is set to take the field in State of Origin Game 3, covering injured Billy Slater. Although making his Origin debut, the 24-year-old is no stranger to playing at Suncorp, where he started with the Brisbane Broncos under-20 side. And Novocastrian Mark Jones has been appointed the new head of performance for the Newcastle Jets. In his role with the club, Jones will be responsible for the team's strength and conditioning, including injury prevention, nutrition and recovery. That's sport. I'm Georgia Moylan.
2 in your RFM News Time, 26 to 9.